Rob, you've known for a while that I am very, let's say, pessimistic about Indiana Jones 5.
No.
Even when they started shooting it, I'm like, I'll believe it when it comes out. Even like, and then, the COVID shuts down, I said, I'll believe it when it comes out. Then Harrison Ford gets injured, I'll believe it when it comes out. Hell, even some set photos of some Nazis came out. And I said, I'll believe it when it comes out. I remain very, very skeptical about this movie. But listen, some new images from the set of Indiana Jones 5 have now come out. And not only are they giving us some interesting insight and once again proving that, yes, John, the movie really is getting made. And I'm still like, I'll believe it when I see it. But not only is it proving this movie's actually getting made, it brings up an interesting proposition that there might be actual time travel involved in this movie. Now, of course, you remember some set photos came out a little while ago and we saw a Nazi train with some Nazis. Well, James Mangold, the director of this film, said this movie takes place in the 60s. There weren't any Nazis in the 60s, at least not organized with their own train sets. You know what I'm saying? So there's that. And now these images came out from the Daily Mail that show us a couple things. First of all, they show us Phoebe Waller-Bridge. It looks like she's helping Indy out. And so we get pictures of them on set. Now, of course, I told everybody that turns out she's going to be Marcus's granddaughter, unless my information was mistaken. But you guys remember I told you that I found out that she's actually playing Marcus's granddaughter. Whether that's true or not, we won't know until the movie comes out. But that's what I was told, and I believe the person that told me and that source is correct. But what's really interesting is not only do you get a couple of these pictures of her and Indy, we also get a bunch of pictures of Roman soldiers. It's like Roman soldiers behind a wall, Roman soldiers, it looks like they're rowing a boat, all this kind of stuff. Now, juxtaposing all this, Rob, against the other photos that came out with Nazis and trains, there has been some whispers going around that the crux of this movie, there's going to be time travel, that this is going to be a time travel movie. And certainly when you see pictures of Nazis on the set and then you see pictures of Roman soldiers on the set, sure, that seems like it could back that up. I would say, and I'm not saying it's not going to be time travel. It's like, hey, man, listen, if you're going to have Nazis and Roman soldiers, time travel's a possibility. Time travel is a possibility. But I want to suggest two things that may suggest it's not time travel. One is, that seems a little out of character even for an Indiana Jones film. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, he can find an alien. Yes, he can find the Ark of the Covenant. But traveling through time seems like a little outside of it. Like Dr. Jones and Dr. Brown are going to zip through time to find Bill and Ted and, the Enterprise gathering up whales and all this guy. It just seems out of character. You know what I mean? It doesn't seem like it fits for an Indiana Jones film. But the second thing is because there is another very valid possibility, which is flashbacks. Let's say like the first Indiana Jones film where the Ark of the Covenant was your main MacGuffin. Let's say there's some artifact that is the MacGuffin of this new one. Well, maybe these scenes are all just tracing the journey through history of this MacGuffin as the Romans try to possess it, then the Nazis tried to possess it. I mean, again, so it could be time travel. We could be seeing Indiana Jones time traveling. And if he is, it seems silly, but it's in the hands of a director like James Mangold, and I trust James Mangold. He's earned our trust. But I still think there's a possibility it may just be flashbacks. Rob, you see these images? What are your thoughts? Is it time travel? Is it flashbacks? Is it something else? What's your thought process in this right now?
I think it's absolutely time travel, and I'll tell you why. Because if you go by, like Lucas talked about how there were aliens in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which was set in the 50s when we had a lot of alien invasion movies that were big. Of course, biblical films were big, hence the Ark of the Covenant. In the 60s, there were a lot of time travel movies that came out. The Time Machine, based on H.G. Wells' time travel, things like The Time Barrier and Chris Marker's La Jetée, which became the basis for 12 Monkeys. And then if you really want to think about it, there wasn't a machine and it was because of physics, but Planet of the Apes might be the ultimate time travel ending. But it makes sense to me because if you think about it, if there's artifacts in this film and they go to Stonehenge, like has been reported, I think the idea that they open a portal in time, that the Nazis are going to try and use some machine, and it's like a 0 point, I forget what it's called, but there's something they were actually trying to build in real life that could be the reason that they're trying to go back in time. The Nazis are to make sure the Third Reich was never defeated or whatever. I could totally see that, because to me, while it seems weird to us, we had aliens in the last one, and we had the power of God destroy the Nazis in Raiders. So it wouldn't surprise me if time travel is the MacGuffin. Is Indiana Jones going to travel through time? I don't know. But I think to me, I believe that that's something they could pick, because what else could it be? You know, he's already had the power of God and aliens, so why not time travel? You know, using some ancient power conjured up in Stonehenge.
I mean, listen, like I said, I completely acknowledge that I think the time travel aspect is a possibility. But I'm not as certain about it as you. Like, I still think there's a very real possibility this is flashback sequences.
Sure.
Because I mean, like, if in any of those pictures, if we saw Indy in a Roman soldier costume, then I'd go, well, okay, well, there's no doubt at this point. Now it's clearly time, but we didn't see that yet. So I don't know. We'll have to see. Question is for you guys. What do you think of these images? Do you think the main plot crux of Indiana Jones 5 could be Bill and Ted and their excellent Indiana Jones adventure? Like, do you think he could be traveling through time? Or do you think maybe now there's another explanation? It's flashbacks or maybe something else. Whatever you guys are thinking, jump on down to the comment section below and leave us your thoughts.